Welcome back to the YouTube channel. My name is Nick Foy, and today I'm going to talk to you about what you can do if you find yourself in a tough financial situation. So if you're going broke and you are worried about what's going to happen, how are you going to be able to afford paying the bills next month, start learning these simple personal finance tips and start trying to make some changes this upcoming month to get yourself back on the right track and get yourself in positive cash flow again. So let's talk about positive cash flow. What does this term mean? Positive cash flow means when you have more income coming in than you have expenses going out. So if this month, let's just say you look at your bank account and you notice that you had $3,000 of income coming in and you had $2,000 of expenses going out, that would leave you a positive cash flow of $1,000. So after you pay off those $2,000 of expenses, out of the $3,000 of income, you would be left with $1,000 left over. So in most cases, if you're going broke, if you're finding yourself running out of money, it's likely due to the fact that your expenses are either equal to your income or exceeding your income. So in other words, we would have $3,000 of expenses, which are going out each month, canceling out the $3,000 of income that we have. Or maybe we're spending $4,000 a month, but we only have $3,000 a month of income. So we'd be in the negative cash flow. We have more money going out than we have coming in. So the first step is you need to audit your personal finance situation. You need to look back at the last 6 months and look how much money you've been making each month for the past 6 months. Break it down by a month basis. So for example, let's just give an example month. If today is January, we would look back at December's income, November, October, September, August, and July. So we'd look back at the income for each of those 6 months, maybe make a spreadsheet on Excel or write it down in different columns. Then we want to write down how much we spent each of those months as well. So look back over your credit card statements. You can download the list of transactions. It's going to be a tedious task, but trust me, this is super important if you're going broke. You need to get this under control and understand by seeing the data and seeing the numbers to know what's going on for you personally. So download the list of transactions of the expenses from your credit cards, from your checking account if you've been paying bills out of your checking account. Once you have all these different expenses in a big list, then organize them by date. So filter out the ones for July, then filter out the ones for August, then the ones for September, October, November, December. So you split them up into 6 different months. Then use like some sort of sum function. If you're using Excel, you could just type in the equal key and then type in the word sum, and it'll bring up a formula, and you can select all the cells that have just those expenses for that month. Or you can get out the handy dandy calculator and you can sit there and manually type in each expense and try to figure out how much total you spent in the month of August. Now repeat this for all 6 months and you're going to come back with a total expense for 6 months, and you're going to be able to see it broken down month by month. So you're going to start to get an idea of what your average spend is each month and over the entire 6-month period. Then you're going to be able to compare this to your income, and you're going to be able to see a bigger picture of why you're in a broke situation. You're going to be able to realize maybe your income wasn't as much as what you've been spending over the last 6 months, and so that's caused you to whittle down your savings account to the point that you're almost out of money. So once you understand this, the next step would be to audit what expenses you actually need to spend money on each month. So this would be necessary expenses like paying for rent, paying for food, paying for utilities, paying your car insurance and fuel for your car. These are things that you're ultimately going to have to spend money on each month to be able to live, because as human beings, ultimately, it costs money for us to live. We're going to have expenses. We're going to have to pay money to be able to exist and live on this earth. And if we don't want to end up out on the streets in a homeless situation, then we're going to have bills, towards housing and utilities. So with that being said, figure out what your normal expenses are that you have to pay. What are your typical bills you have to pay each month? Then figure out what expenses you have that you don't necessarily need to spend money on each month. So if you're spending money on coffee out at the coffee shops, or you're buying books or random accessories or clothes each month that you don't really need to be spending that money on right now, this is going to wake you up and realize that you could be saving some extra money here. So the next step is to figure out how we can get into a positive cash flow situation. So once we have a better picture of our financials, of what we're making each month right now, what we're spending each month right now, we can start to make some adjustments. So the first adjustment we can make is we can start cutting expenses. So that's where we did the audit of what's necessary and what's excess, things that we don't really need to spend money on. So by cutting our expenses, we can get it down to where we're spending less than what we're making, and we can start to generate this positive cash flow again, and we can start saving money away into our savings account. The next step would be to look at maybe increasing our income. Maybe we can't really cut expenses anymore. We've already gone back as much as we can. Maybe you're already living pretty frugally because you know you've been in money troubles and you've cut out a lot of things, so you don't really have much more room to cut further expenses. So in this case, we need to get our income up so that our income can exceed these current expenses that we've pretty much maxed out at or capped out at as far as how much we could further reduce. So by getting the income higher, this could create that positive cash flow surplus to allow us to start building our savings account back up and building that emergency fund back up. All right, and the third alternative is to do a combination of both. Maybe we're able to cut expenses and we're able to increase our income. This is going to create even more positive cash flow, and it's going to allow us to save money and build our bank account back up to a healthy amount of savings even faster. So those are three options to get started with: cut expenses or increase your income, or do a combination of both, cutting expenses and increasing your income. Now, I've made extra videos on the YouTube channel, if you go to Nick Foy TV, where you can find additional ways of ideas of how you can make extra money. I've done multiple videos showing you how you can make an extra $1,000 a month, different side hustles you could start doing, things you can do on the weekends or after work hours, so maybe getting a second job, running one of these side hustle opportunities. So there's multiple ways you can get started earning extra income. Just check those videos out. I'll try to link to them below in the video description as well. All right, so once we get in this situation where we're increasing our income, we figured out how to cut our expenses down to the bare essentials, then we're gonna start saving away the surplus income each month into our savings account. This is gonna help us build up our emergency fund, so if we have random emergencies that pop up, like our car breaks down, or something goes wrong with the house we're living in and we have to spend money to fix it, things like that can pop up out of nowhere, and we'll have this emergency fund set aside. So start funding your emergency fund first with your surplus savings that you're bringing home each month, since your income is now greater than your expenses. Once you get your emergency fund funded, then start funding your savings account. Try and get about 6 months worth of savings saved up. So if for some reason you would lose your source of income that you currently have coming in, and you just have your expenses going out every month, you could be able to cover 6 months worth of expenses, as this will give you enough time to try to get out there and find an income source to get back to positive cash flow again. Now, once we've got the emergency fund funded and we've got our savings saved to about 6 months worth of savings, next we can start getting into investing. This can help us further increase our income by learning how to invest in real estate. We can start buying rental properties that produce rental income, and this can add additional income to our surplus cash flow each month to help us stay out of the negative and get ourselves out of debt quicker. So real estate investing is taught pretty heavily on this YouTube channel, so make sure you're subscribed to the channel and follow the different playlists. I've got the real estate investing playlist set up for you guys if you want to find those videos, or you can check the link below in the description. I've got real estate investing courses that teach you, if you're a brand new beginner, how to get started buying your first property. So investing would be the next step so that you can start further increasing your savings and your income by these income producing assets that you're investing in, like rental properties or dividend stocks that pay out dividend income that you can then withdraw and take to your bank account. So there's other ways you can start growing your income down the road through investments, but ultimately the first way to grow your income is to look for extra jobs and side hustle businesses that you can start to try to make some extra income. All right, so that's what I've got for you today in this video on what to do if you are broke. If you're in a broke situation, it's probably because your expenses are exceeding your income, and this is putting you into debt until you can get to a point where you start making more income to cancel out your expenses, or cutting your expenses to be able to create a positive cash flow where you're bringing in more income than what you have going out in expenses. And this is going to allow you to start paying off your debt, build that emergency fund, build up some savings for 6 months in case you would lose your income down the road, and then start trying to figure out how to invest in stocks and real estate to further grow your wealth and grow your income. So thanks so much for watching this video. If you gained value, again, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, turn it blue. It's gonna help support the channel, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel so that we can grow to 10,000 subscribers this year.